Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, understand that. That I will the running code I will show you tomorrow because I have requested one of my friend for Visual Studio 2012 or 13. So I'll be getting that today, and I'll install that in my laptop, and I'll run the code tomorrow, and I'll show you the running code with the, yeah, that I'll show you tomorrow. I'll definitely show you. Okay, so let's start with this JSON. Okay, remaining part. Okay, JSON how to. Here you can see that uh, we have the string here. It is making a string, right? It is a making a string, and this string it will convert into an object. So it is doing nothing special. It is just starting with the single code that this is the string. Then it's putting a curly bracket here. Then the string part. Then it concatenating the string. Nothing special. So it is making the string, and then after it is using the JSON.parse method to serialize that string into an object that we have done yesterday. So this is a string, and from the string, with the help of this method, we can convert that string into an object. So something like that. So same thing we can try here. So this is the string. If I want to put my name instead of place of John, so I can put that. Or it will display my name because that is an array. So with the help of the index, we can display the array data. So here something like that. So this is the string, and this text will contain the data in a string format, and with the help of this JSON.parse method, we can convert that string into an object. This JSON.parse method is available with the, I think, jQuery, or I think it is supported by the browser only. Browser supports this JSON.parse and JSON.stringify. It is inbuilt with the all the browsers, latest browsers. Yeah, yeah, it's supported by all the browsers. Okay. Here also, if there is another method which is something like, which is the eval method. Older browsers without the support for the JavaScript function, JSON.parse can use the eval function to convert a. Okay, here you can see that older browser which doesn't support the JSON.parse method can use eval function to convert a JSON text into a JavaScript object. But nowadays all the modern browsers are supporting the JSON.parse or JSON.stringify method, so you need not to worry about that. Okay. Here you can see that this is a kind of array again, which is containing 3 items, 1 item, 2 item, and this is the third item, and containing the data in key and value pair. So this is kind of representation of the JSON data in a JSON format. You can also create some JSON file, and there you can put your JSON data, and you can load that JSON file and process that data. Separate file. and this is the way of. Yes, absolutely, because JSON is nothing but JSON is a representation of the data in a string format. No problem, absolutely you can use that. Yes. No, JavaScript not between JSON, because yeah, so because JSON is a kind of representation of the data, so it represents the data in a string format and in the JavaScript variable only. You understand? You have the JavaScript variable, then you have the JSON data inside that JavaScript variable, right? Yes. But but again, if you suppose this is the JSON data, right? I wanted to make this data, and I wanted to get the data from the uh, text box or some other control. So what I have to do for this display attribute. I want to take the data from the text box. So here I have to write the dollar text selector. Then I have to take the data from the dot val. You have to use data from that. So while making the JSON string, you can use the JavaScript code inside that to get the value. You understand? Yeah. While you are making the JSON string. Yes. Okay. And another thing, suppose we discussed that how to make a AJAX call with the help of the jQuery AJAX methods, right? Yeah, we discussed that, and I also shown you the example yesterday. So if suppose you don't want to use the jQuery AJAX methods and you want to use the basic AJAX methods to get the data from the server or set the data from to the server, right? I don't want to use the JSON, jQuery AJAX method. So in that case, here is an example which is not using the jQuery AJAX methods to get the data from the server. Let me explain you. So what you have to do, you have to use the XML HTTP request class or object which is inbuilt in the browser. So this class you have to use, and this with the help of this class you can get or set some data to the server using this is the original class for the AJAX request, XML HTTP request. Okay. So what all parameter or what all functions are there in this uh, uh, with this object? Let's see. So when you are making a request, then you will need a URL to which you will make the request, right? Okay, so here is the URL that I want to make a request to this particular URL, which is a PHP page, and there is one function on ready state change of this object, in which I am checking something that if ready state equal to 4 and ready status equal to 200, then I just make a call to the function. So it is what is doing, it is opening the request HTTP XML HTTP request. In open, it's saying that I want to make the call with the help of the get method, not the post method. It is passing the URL, and is it also passing the third parameter? Maybe it would be a synchronous, or asynchronous, something like that. I'll cover that. Let's see here what is here. Okay, then it has opened the request, and it is trying to send that request, send to the server with the help of the send method. And here you can see that, so this function, my function, will be called from here, and it will get the data from the server in this response parameter. And so this will be in a JSON format. So it is converting that data with the help of this JSON.parse into an object, array object, and from the help of the array, it is iterating to the array and preparing one TR, and it will finally append into TD. Let's see what it's doing. It is making this. Here you can see that. So let me show you what data. So this data is coming from the server with the help of the AJAX. So this response is containing the data in a JSON format. Let me show you an alert box. Here you can see that this is the response that we have got from the server. This is containing the JSON data. Key value pair, name equal to this, name, city equal to this, and country equal to that, in format of the array. So this is the rectangular bracket or big bracket for the starting with the array, and this is the first item till here. Then the second item is starting from here, ending here. So something like that. This is containing the data in a JSON format. And once we have the data in a JSON format, we can convert that data into object format with the help of this method. So it has converted that into array method, array object, and then it is iterating with the length of the help of the length. So it will go through all the items because we are having a for loop here, right? And we are accessing the data from that object with the help of the property name. Yes, this is just a string. In the string, we are adding some more TRs. So then it will have the table. Then it will add TR. Then for each and every record, it will add TR, 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 and in the last, it will add the table closing tag. And finally, it will. Yes, I'm making an HTML. Finally, what we have a table now. The table is ready now. So we are setting that table. So it is pure without the help of the jQuery. It is a pure JavaScript code. We have not used jQuery here. So once we have the table and TRs in a string format, we can add those inside this div. So here you can see that we are getting that div with the help of the document.getElement by ID, and then ID of that div, and we are setting the inner HTML of that div, which is the table string format. This something like that. So this is pure JavaScript, no jQuery here. But if you talk about the jQuery wrapper method, so this is very simple. You need not to write all these codes. If you remember, you only have to write a $.get, right? And then you have to pass the URL. Then you have to pass the data, and it will return you the response. In a single line, you can do that. If you don't remember, let me show you. www.json jQuery. Okay, so we are here with the AJAX, jQuery AJAX get and post method. So here what you have to do is nothing, but you have to write the code in a very single line. You have the get method, right? $.get. So get method, then URL you have to pass here. Then you have to, it will give you data in this format. So this is very simple thing. You need not to write 5 lines or 10 lines of the code. Very simple. Okay. Here you can see in a very simple line you have done the same things. Can you see? With the help of the same URL I am hitting with the help of the uh, $.get jQuery AJAX get method. Can you see this? In one line I have done the same thing that I wanted to show you. In the one line I have done that. And here what I have to do, if I talk about the JavaScript, I have to write this much of code. Right? So as I told you that jQuery provides you the wrapper method of all the JavaScript functions. So if you talk about the jQuery, so inside that function, get function, they must have written the whole syntax of this. They must have written all this syntax. Okay, so they are doing the work for us. jQuery library is doing the work for us. We need not to do. Yeah, this is the normal. Yes, I'm not displaying the status. All I need to do is display the data. Status is request. What is the status of the request? Success or failure? Whether I am successfully able to make the call and get the data from there, or I am not able to do so. So this is the status. So same thing we are able to do in a very simple line of code. Okay. Okay. Let me tell you some more some methods which will help you, jQuery methods. Okay. I have moved to jQuery and I'm trying to explain some more methods of jQuery. Okay, that will help you while you are doing the coding. Add class or method of the jQuery, so that we have already covered. With the help of the add class, we can add a new class, CSS class, with to the any element, right? If I want to insert some content after the selected elements, with the help of the after, I can do that. Append, if I want to append some content at the end of the selected element. Attribute thing, we discussed that how to get the value of a particular attribute. And if I want to set value of a particular attribute with the help of this attribute method, I can do so. Before clone will help you make a clone or copy of a selected item. Then just with the help of the CSS, we can get or set the CSS property values. There are some more. Yeah, we have to write style there. Style, not CSS. Okay, suppose we have some remove method. Uh, remove the selected element. This remove method will remove the selected element from the parent element, including the data and everything. It will remove attr. Suppose you want to remove, you have the anchor tag and you want to remove a particular attribute of that anchor tag with the help of the remove attr, you can do so, something like that. This is very helpful. Okay, okay, you can see that these paragraphs containing these, so this style is an attribute, right? And this is containing some style, css style. So on the click of this button, I want to remove this css style attribute. So with the help of the remove attr, so it is expecting which attribute you want to remove. The name of the attribute you have to pass there, so it will remove the style, something like that, you can see. Yeah, so the help of this we can remove the attributes. Any attribute I want to remove, suppose I was having some href here, or title equal to, so I want to remove the title, so I have to pass the name of the attribute here in the remove attribute. So you can see that I have the title which is showing me Yashpal. So on the click of this, I will remove that. So now it will not show me the Yashpal. So any attribute you want to remove, you can do so. If you want to remove a particular CSS class, you can do that. If you want to remove a property set by property method, you can do that. Replace with, you can get the text, wrapper all. So these are the some useful methods that you will commonly used. Okay. Parent, child, all these we have discussed. Siblings, selectors. There is another method which I wanted to tell you, which is each method. Okay, each method means having the, if you heard about the for each method, so on the same lines we have the each in the jQuery, so we can iterate through the collection with the help of the each method. So you can see that I have eval, and then inside I have some list, right? A list is containing 3 items. So I want to iterate of the, and I want to display the text of list in a alert box. So with the help of the each method, this will, on this button, it will show me the alert box 3 times, and each and every alert box will have the content or individual lists. You see coffee. For first item, it has shown me the coffee, then it has shown me the milk, and then soda. So here what I'm doing I'm having the selector. Okay, then I'm writing the each method function name here. So it will iterate through the all the lists, then then this normal syntax, and inside that each method I am showing the alert box. So this will contain the current list item. This will show the current list item, and I'm getting the text of that current list item. So this each method will be needing. Yeah. Yeah, this method I was talking about yesterday. Yeah, let me show you. Yeah, yes, hold on. Okay, so here what is doing it is doing nothing but making a web service call, and it is loading some data from a txt file. So with the help of the AJAX, so here it is expecting some parameters, the URL. So it is doing the same thing that we were doing with the help of the load, right? So it is loading the content from this txt file. This is, sorry. Okay, it must be inside the jQuery. So this is a txt file, right? Demo underscore test.txt, and from that it is loading the data, right? Something like that. So if you talk about this file, it is containing jQuery and AJAX is fun, and then same thing it is displayed here. Okay, so definition, this is let's explain this. This is very important, or you can say commonly used. You'll be using this. Okay, so here we have some some parameters, subparameters which you can use. First is asynchronous, a boolean value indicating whether the request should be handled asynchronous or not. So asynchronous means it will not wait for the another side, you can say. Yeah, so something like that. Default is true, it will default make the asynchronous call before send. If you want to run some function before sending the request, before request is sent, so you can, with the help of this function before send, you can do that. Okay, another, yeah, yeah. Okay, next is cache. Suppose if you want to load the data from the cache, cache is nothing but in cache you can store your data temporarily for a given time period. So suppose if you want to allow your browser to cache the data, suppose if there is something which you need every time, right? Some data is there which in every call or everybody needs that data. So instead of making individual calls to the server for that data, you can store that data in a browser, right? And you can get the data from there, something like that. So it will indicate whether that while making the call and getting the data from the server, whether it will store that data in a cache or not. Default is true. By default it stores the data in a cache, and if you make that in the one for the next call, it will get the data from the cache only, it will not go to the server. Okay, complete is another function. So with the help of this function you can run a particular function when the request is finished. You want to do something, once the request is finished, so then with the help of this complete function you can do so. Content type, with the help of this you can use set the content type of the data while sending the request. So the content type used when sending data to the server, default is application X. So this is the default value. Context, like yesterday if you remember, we set the data type, content type as JSON. Context specify this value for the AJAX related callback functions. Data is a something like that, specific data to be sent to the server. The parameters, if you remember, if that the data which was used to send with the help of the query string or the packets. So this is the data, parameter data, query string data, you can say. Data filters, a function used to handle the raw response data of the, see here, this is internally working with this object that I was telling you. Example HTTP request. Here you can see XML HTTP request. This is a pure JavaScript function which is using the XML HTTP request to make the XML AJAX call, and they have the wrapped up this function, and internally they are using this object here. Data type. Okay, next is the data type. The data type expected of the server response, whether you are expecting a JSON data, string data, integer data from the server, so that you can specify. Another function is error. Suppose if there is some error, so what task you want to do. If your request fails, global, the boolean value is specifying whether or not to trigger global AJAX events handlers for the request. This will not that helpful. Okay. Next is success. If your request is successful, if your request succeeds, what you want to do, suppose you want to display that data or manipulate that data, so inside that you can do that. Next is timeout. If you want to define some timeout for the request, if you didn't get the data in a specified time, and then you don't want to do anything, you don't want to wait for a longer time, suppose 30 minutes or something. If you only want to wait for a something, with the help of the timeout you can do so. Yeah. Next is type. Which method? Yes. Okay, so type, with the help of the type we can specify which method we want to use. Get or post method. URL specifies the URL to send the request to. Default is current page. If you're not specifying any URL, it will hit the current page only. Okay, this is something like that. Sorry. With the help of the username, you can pass the username for HTTP access authentication request. Also, you can pass the password. This is something we are loading the data from server. Here you can see that with the help of this AJAX method, we are loading some script file. JS script files. In the data type, we have defined that this is a content of the response will be a script. Something like that. Here you see that it is making a request, it is making a AJAX call, but it has given the wrong file name, which file is not there on the server. So with the help of this error function, it can handle that and show an alert to the user that an error has occurred. Here you can see an error occurred, 404 not found, because that is a wrong file name. That file doesn't exist on the server, so that it has shown you the error. So with the help of the error function, you can do so. Okay. Anything you want me to discuss more? Tomorrow I'll show you the running code of the service call from the help of the AJAX. I'll try to show you tomorrow. No, we can discuss 15 minutes more, not an issue. Yeah. Tomorrow JSON plus AJAX. Yeah, AJAX plus JSON also. Initially we discussed the JSON, then we discussed the AJAX. Yeah. Okay. Okay, AJAX is nothing but a asynchronous JavaScript and XML. With the help of the AJAX, we can make a service call in the asynchronous mode. Okay, suppose here how AJAX works. An event occurs in the browser, create an XML HTTP request object, send the HTTP request, internet to the server. Server will process the HTTP request, create a response, and send data back to the browser. Okay, so on the browser you get the data, process the return data using the JavaScript or jQuery, update the page content, right? This is we already discussed. Yeah, so the main idea is that you don't want to reload the whole page, you only want to update a particular section of the page. Yes, so if you're not using the AJAX methods, so when you want to send communicate to the server, the whole page will go to the server and then request will be serviced, right? So you don't want to do that. You want to send the data from one page to another page, right? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So there could be two or three ways. First, you pass the data with the help of the query string, right? Another thing, you can pass the data with the help of the post method. You can pass the data. So there could be several ways of doing that. For banking website, we cannot pass anything in the query string, right? So whatever we have to do with the AJAX calls or with the post method only. Yeah, because of the security. Yeah, so yeah, so yeah, definitely we will use the jQuery because jQuery provides us the methods using which we can have the we can make the AJAX call, right? So we have to use the jQuery methods to make a AJAX call. Okay, here it's saying Google suggest. AJAX was made popular in 2005 by Google with Google Suggest. Google Suggest is using AJAX to create a very dynamic web interface. When you start typing in Google search box, a JavaScript sends the letter off to the server and server returns the list of the suggestions. Okay, so this is talking about this. So this is using the AJAX and it is hitting the search database, and with the help of that it is showing us the suggestions here. Yes. Okay, so create an XML HTTP request object. So with the help of this object, we have already done that. With the help of this object, we can make a AJAX call if you don't want to use the jQuery AJAX method. So this is the pure JavaScript things that we can do. So we can make a AJAX call with the help of this object. We have to create the instance of that object, something like that. So here it's saying that older versions of Internet Explorer use an ActiveX object. So this is not required because everybody has moved from i5, i6 to i8 or i9. So now you have to use this, right? Nowadays nobody using the i5 or i6. No, everybody using more than, I think, i9 or i8. So this is a simple. This is the help of ActiveX. Okay, so ActiveX is not required now. Okay, so this is the send a request to a server. So with the help of the open method and send method, we can do so. So open method, we can specify the method type, which method we are going to use, get or post, then what is the URL, then the another parameter. So let's see open method. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Synchronous or asynchronous. Open method accepts three parameters. One is the method, get or post, sorry. One other is the URL, and third is the asynchronous, true or false, whether it will do the asynchronous or not. Then we have the send method, send the request to the server used for the get method. Send request, send another the overloaded method which will send the request to the server used for the post method. Get or post, get is simpler and faster than post and can be used in most cases. However, always use post request when. Here you can see that why it is suggesting to use the post method. Okay, sending a cached file is not an option. Update a file or database on the server, right? Sending a large amount of data to the server. So query string is having some limitations that you can not pass more than 243 characters in the query string or something like that. So if you want to pass the large amount of data to the server, you can use the post method. Here, no, we cannot pass with the help of the get because query string has some limitations. Because get uses the query string to pass the data, so maximum character is 243 or something that you can pass. Sending user input which can contain unknown characters. So in that case, because if you're sending the data of your text box or some controls, and your text box user enters some special characters, suppose and sign or something like that, so in that case your URL will be broken, right? So in that case, you need not to use the get method. You should better use the post method. And also the post method is robust and secure than the get method that we already knew. Okay. So this all we have already discussed. How to make a call. So this is all about the AJAX. I was telling you that day that AJAX is not that big. If you talk about the AJAX, this is very simple, and here you can see the things. 4 or 5 chapter only, or very small chapters. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm just wrapping up. Okay, and do you have any question? So yeah, so just okay, so just to update you, like, sorry, 1 second. Now you can hear. Just you, we have done. We have covered the. You can hear me now. Okay, just I was trying to say that we have covered the course, right? And we need 1 or 2 more sessions, 1 or 2 hours to cover. If you have any question, or tomorrow I'll show you the running example of the jQuery AJAX method with the help of the web service function, right? And if you have any question or something you want to do some practice and have do some discussions, then we can have one more session on